Hey guys, what's up? It's Zyflin here, and today we're going to be talking about the current state of Warframe, and just based off of that title alone, you've probably already came to the conclusion or wrote this video off as just another Warframe content creator complaining about the fact that he has nothing to do in Warframe, and because he has nothing to do in Warframe, he can't make any content, and because he can't make any content covering the game, his viewership on both Twitch and YouTube is low, which means he's making less money, so this is his attempt at jumping on the there is nothing to do in Warframe video bandwagon in hopes that he gets a spike in viewership so he can make a little bit more money. Now, I promise you that that is not the intention behind this video. The current viewership of my channels and how much I'm making is totally fine in my opinion. I'm not out here trying to be famous or anything. I'm just trying to get by, and with the numbers that I've had over the past 4 months on both my YouTube and Twitch channel, I'm making more than enough to continue doing both full time and live healthily. I actually wanted to talk about something that has been bothering me ever since the release of Fortuna in November last year. Now, it's no real secret that the interest in Warframe amongst experienced players has been on a decline, and it's very easy for the average consumer or viewer to just write it off as, oh, I'm not playing Warframe right now because there's currently nothing for me to do in the game, and if that's your excuse for not playing, that's totally fine. But for me, as someone who has sank over 4,000 plus hours into the game since it released on console, made creating content on the game my job, has spoke to developers and a plethora of different types of players, I think that the reason I'm not playing Warframe as much as I used to has a more complicated answer than just, oh, there's nothing for me to do. As it currently stands, I can't log on and play Warframe for more than an hour a day without wanting to log off and play a different game. Now, this wasn't the case about a year ago when the Plains of Eidolon first came out, but if you compare Warframe now to Warframe back then, not a lot has really changed apart from a few key things which probably went under your radar. The first big one for me was the fact that soon after the Plains of Eidolon was released, the Trials of Warframe, known as the Law of Retribution and Jorda's Verdict, more commonly referred to as the Raids of Warframe, were removed from the game come March 2018. I started my Warframe account on PC way back in 2015, so I was just tying up the loose ends of everything that I had to do in my account come 2018. There is no denying that there is an extreme amount of different content in Warframe for you to experience, be it different tile sets, events, weapons, or Warframes. The fact that I was only just finishing up my account in 2018, having started in 2015, is absolutely insane to think about, and it's a testament to how much work DE has put into their game ever since it was launched. But what you have to ask yourself as someone who is maybe experiencing the game for the first time or has been through the same experience with the game that I have is, where does it all start to fall flat and why? For me, the enjoyment of Warframe started to decline when there was less and less reason for me to play it with my friends, my clan, or my viewers. I had absolutely fallen in love with the depth and how good Warframe felt to play. It's fast, it's smooth, it's fluid, it's optimized, and it's interesting. So I can safely say that I still enjoy the gameplay of Warframe very much, so that has never changed, and if anything, DE continue to improve the gameplay experience more and more as the years go by. But that fluid gameplay and the depth is not what hooks me on a game. If that were the case, I would be addicted to Overwatch, because that game, despite its innocent art style, has a shit ton of depth and is extremely well optimized and feels great to play. I mentioned that in 2018, I started to tie up the loose ends of my account, meaning I had just finished collecting all of the available primes or any content that a player would deem meaningful to themselves. So because I had just finished up collecting all of my prime items, I no longer had to do relic runs. There would be absolutely no point in me doing them. It would just be a waste of my time unless I needed to sell prime sets for platinum, which I didn't because I had already made a lot of platinum and had it saved up. At this point, I could also solo Eidolons and pretty much any piece of content in the game. Now, why is this a problem? Usually being able to solo activities in a co-op game is a sought after feature for people who just prefer the solo experience, have bad internet connection or hardware, things like that. Let's take a look at Anthem. When it was being sold to us, many people were eager to know if you could experience the entire game solo, which you could, and that scored up brownie points with the press. So what's the big deal? What's the point? I don't know about you, but I always thought that the point in a co-op game was that it was intended to be most enjoyable when it was played with friends. It may just be me, but I feel like Warframe in its current state, outside of something like Eidolons, leveling on Hydron, or relic runs, which aren't necessities past a certain point by the way, is kind of the opposite. I rarely want to jump into a spy mission, an interception, a defense mission, a survival mission, or any mission for that matter with another player in the current state of Warframe, simply because the game is more optimally played alone. Which seems like a huge contradiction in the overarching game design of Warframe, as it's marketed to us as a co-op game. Back in the day when void keys and trials were a thing, I couldn't wait to wake up in the morning and start streaming Warframe to get a bunch of people into my T3 or T4 survival or defense mission, because the idea behind it was to work together to survive for as long as possible, to get as much loot as possible, or in the context of raids, was to do a run as fast as possible to get the ever so elusive arcane at the end. Now the only reason I play with people to do relics is because I get to choose from new rewards, so it benefits me more. There is no real interaction between myself and the other players needed whatsoever. I could just jump into a random lobby and maybe get something that I didn't expect to get that was better than what I was originally after. And as for Eidolons, you only need to co-op with other players until a certain point, then you can solo them, or if you're really greedy for the arcanes, which you don't need at all, you have the option to co-op and do the runs more efficiently. But other than that, there is no reason for you to co-op in Warframe outside of those two activities and maybe leveling, but that's it, and I think that is really, really sad. I used to have an extremely active community of people who would be on every single day to do a raid in Warframe willingly, knowing that the arcane at the end of it wasn't even worth it, and the entire reason for that was because it was an activity that you were required to do cooperatively, and there was an actual opportunity to meet new people when doing said activity. The barrier of entry for trials was not too low and not too high. New players who were around MR5 could join in with a Stump Rhino build, which is just a Rhino modded with continuity, constitution, stretch, and overextended. I used to be able to do extremely long streams on Twitch where everyone was interested and excited for the next survival or defense run to be done in the Void, simply because people were eager to learn about how they can push their Warframe and weapons to the limit, either on their own or with a squad. 9 times out of 10, unless you just wanted to play alone for the day, it was better off to co-op with people because you could survive for longer because of the aura mod known as corrosive projection. It was pretty much required to do longer runs, and longer runs were always worth it. I would say that people were more engaged in Warframe content back then than they are now. The game is significantly easier now, and it's not because of how overpowered the Warframes are, it's because of the content the DE are throwing at us to do to get our rewards. When I want to farm a new prime item, I pretty much exclusively only use my relics in capture or exterminate fisher missions. Why? Because it's the most time efficient way to get what I want. Time is the most valuable resource that you have, and given the option to do something that is way quicker to get what you want instead of doing an interception or a defense mission, for example, 99% of people are going to choose the faster option. What this creates is kind of like a value imbalance. Why should I spend more time doing a defense mission to get the same thing that my buddy got in half that amount of time doing a capture mission? It just doesn't really make any sense to choose the defense mission over the capture mission. So with the relic system alone, content that you used to be required to do to get fancy prime items became optional, so DE from my perspective pretty much killed off a part of their game with the implementation of the Void Relic system. Now, I'm not saying that the Void Relic system itself is absolutely horrible, I just think that it could have been a lot better. The idea of somewhat still rewarding the player even if they didn't get the prime item that they wanted in the form of void traces to later increase their chance of getting said prime item, I'm okay with. But it's the fact that they rip primes from the void and certain game modes in the void that I have great issue with, and also the fact that they introduced another grind on top of that, which I feel made grinding prime items even worse in the form of having to farm up relics that are consumed on every rotation. Previously, you would farm one key and you would be able to use that key to play a certain game mode in the void. For example, I could go to an interception mission on Sedna, stay until rotation C, and pretty much be guaranteed a T4 survival, defense, or interception key. Upon using this key, I would be put into the void playing the game mode corresponding with the key that I used. Every rotation, so rotation A, rotation B, rotation C, would give me a reward based on what is available in the drop table at that point in time. So let's say, for example, rotation C and a T4 defense, you would have a percentage chance to get a Lucky Prime Systems, Forma, or whatever. Every game mode had their own predetermined drop tables, and it kind of forced the variety onto you. The only time this really became a problem is when DE added in a prime item that had a ridiculous drop chance, causing people to literally burn out on playing the same thing over and over again because the drop chance for whatever they were farming for was so low. Now the most efficient way to farm prime items is to do a capture or exterminate fisher mission, which sure, The tile set changes up most of the time, but the capture mission is a capture mission. You skip all the bad guys, you capture the target, you get your lemons, and then you get out. Same could be said for an exterminate, except you're just killing everything. When it comes to farming relics, well, it depends on the relic that you're trying to farm for. Some relic grinds are okay. You can go to multiple different places in the star chart and farm them up, but some specific cases you kind of feel forced into doing something like mission 2 in the Profit Taker bounties, because the drop chance for the relic you're farming is just ridiculously high. It becomes a no-brainer. You want this relic, you go here, anywhere else, it just doesn't make sense. So when we compare the old void keys to the new relic system, with the old void keys, when you got a key, you had more chances at getting the part you wanted from that one key, or you could get multiple off that prime item, implying you stayed for another rotation that drops the item that you needed. With the relics, you get one relic for one chance at getting the part that you need, and then if you don't get it, you gotta go farm that relic again. With the void key system, outside of certain game modes, you had the choice to either stay or back out at wave 20 or 20 minutes in and farm another key. I feel like I had more of a choice on what content I wanted to play when the void key system was a thing compared to now. With relics, I have to constantly be farming them up if I don't get the part that I want, where with void keys, I could just make the most of the one key that I already had farmed, encouraging cooperative play and pushing your gear to its limits. Now, there were certain items that you couldn't farm in an endless mission, but when it came to farming keys to run missions such as a capture, sabotage, or mobile defense, for the most part, you're pretty much guaranteed to get a key for the mission that you needed to play from certain nodes on the star chart. It may just be me, but I feel like DE could have done a way better job with the void key system. I've never really liked the relic system, as it sucked a lot of the fun out of the game for me. It removed that sacred feeling from the void, it made doing longer runs pretty much pointless, and I feel like it just added another barrier of tedious grind onto getting the prime frames because of how many different relics there are. The drop tables are just really diluted. It gave the player a false sense of choice. Sure, you can still do an endless mission to farm up your prime items and you'll earn relics while playing them, but what's the point whenever you can just run a capture or an exterminate mission that is much faster and you can go someplace with a higher drop chance to farm up the relic that you need? All they had to do back whenever void keys were a thing was allow us to earn void traces from every rotation to upgrade our keys to grant us a higher chance at getting the items that we wanted. In my opinion, that would have been a lot better, because then the players still have the choice to either do a short run of 20 waves, and if they didn't get the part that they wanted, they could back out and upgrade their next key for an increased chance of getting what they want in their next run, while also keeping the players who want to do longer runs happy, because then they can get more of that rare loot that is only going to drop from their endless missions. Having set locations where items drop in Warframe was never a bad thing. It's a grinding game, and we jumped headfirst into the experience with that in mind, so replaying content was never really an issue. The issue was the ridiculous drop chances that DE had in place, which really made players burn out. The relic system tried to fix that, but instead made it a lot worse because it took a lot of the value behind farming literally every prime item in the game away, and DE know this. Prime items have lost their value and they're no longer a priority anymore. Reaper Hunter made a good comment about this in his Warframe, the declining state of a great game video, where he compares the Vauban Prime release to the Equinox Prime release. Vauban Prime was hyped up, released with a trailer, where Equinox Prime got a web page, and then that was it. How can we get excited about a new Prime release when clearly even DE aren't excited about the new Prime release, which is shown by the lack of effort on their part to hype it up like they used to? It just feels like a core part of the game, a community-wide thing, has just lost its value, and that sucks. But what is it in favor for? Where are DE now focusing their efforts? Well, the answer, in my opinion, is quite simple. Content that can be used in promotional material, the type of content that makes you say, wow, this is in a free-to-play game? In 2017, we got the Plains of Eidolon. Who asked for it? Nobody. In 2018, we got the Orb Valis. Who asked for that? No one. This year, we're getting Railjacked. Who asked for that? No one. To me, it feels like DE have fallen victim to the entire market the game really well to entice more players into the game, rather than actually thinking about what the players who currently play their game really want and have enjoyed over the years. What got me thinking about this was a clip from an episode of Gordon Ramsay's Hotel Hell of all things, where he gets the owner of the hotel, who's very tunnel visioned with what he wants for the hotel, and he puts him in front of his guests, completely open platform, where they tell the owner about how the hotel didn't meet their expectations, no hard feelings, no strings attached. What he took away from that was the fact that what he wanted, or what he thought was best for his hotel, his business, did not line up with what the guests of his hotel needed or expected. And that's how Warframe feels right now. It feels like DE have this list of things that they want done, and they are completely neglecting the greater needs and wants of the players who have been around for literal years in this tunnel visioned attempt to get as many people on the game as possible. You have this co-op game where people literally don't want to or don't see the need in playing with one another. Let's take a look at the forum threads for the recent arbitration changes as proof of that, where people are literally saying they won't revive their teammates or they would rather play solo. You have this completely unique grinding game implement this unoriginal artificial content band-aid battle pass that is Nightwave. You have this shoot 'em up, chop 'em up Space Ninja game where the main focus used to be on obtaining the most powerful gear possible that now has time gates stopping you from getting the badass gear that you want. I could sit here for hours, and as an experienced player, someone who's been around since the start and interacted with many different members of this community, critique a lot of the different things that have been added into Warframe as of recent, but the thing is, I've been around long enough to know that my voice won't have any effect. What I'm telling you in today's video is nothing new. It's all been said before by YouTubers and Twitch streamers before me. You can find tons of Reddit posts and forum posts of players saying things along the same lines of what I'm saying, just in their own way. What sucks about this is that we know that the people over at DE see these posts, see these videos, and hear these Twitch streamers talking about their discontent with the game. And I can tell you for a fact that DE watch these videos, they listen to these streamers, and they read these Reddit or forum threads because I've been able to speak to some of the developers about these issues, but nothing changes. At this point in time, I would argue that the overall game design of Warframe, how you progress, is just flawed. It's no longer enjoyable, and there's no real point to exploring all of the depth that the game has to offer, as there's no game modes in the game that requires you to do anything out of the ordinary. Now, I'm not trying to bash DE with this video at all, even though I know just from reading the script back, it comes across like I'm really sour in the game. But as I watch this company, who I have the utmost respect for, take this game in an extremely casual, bite-sized direction with content being made for no other reason than to use as marketing material, I ask myself, what even is the point in playing this game anymore? Why should I progress to Master Rank 27 when at the end of the day, the benefits of being such a high Master Rank just aren't worth it anymore because all of the content in the game is just so easy and not engaging? Why should I be excited for the next update when I know that I'm going to be done with the content within the space of a week, or that a lot of the content just isn't going to be worth my time because it's nothing special? Why should I spend any amount of time grinding for a mod that's going to give me something like parkour velocity when I don't need it or my build is fine? In a sense, you could compare Warframe updates to YouTube videos. Sometimes I will push out a video just for the sake of getting a video out there because I know that it's going to benefit my channel and my revenue at least slightly. That's instead of me sitting down and really figuring out what makes an iFlynn video unique and how could I implement that in my next video. I could choose the easy option and just make something for the sake of making it because I know at least some people will be interested in whatever I decide to make. Same could be said with a Warframe update. Sure, you can make an update that includes a new open world or space combat or something, but is that really what makes Warframe Warframe? The fact that we have open worlds and that the game is free to play? I didn't begin to enjoy this game because of how awesome the developers are, or because of the ambition and the innovation that DE bring to the gaming industry with the type of content that they've been pushing out recently. I began to enjoy this game because it was a fun co-op experience that I couldn't wait to jump onto every single day after school or in the morning when I woke up, because every single run of a Law of Retribution, a Jorda's Verdict, a T4 Survival, a T4 Defense, anything, you name it, was different and unique because playing with my buddies was always worth it. Now there's this disconnect. If you don't have this relic, you can't play with us because we're farming this one specific part. If you're going to die in arbitrations, you can't play with us because we lose out if we have to revive you. If you have a slow hard drive or internet connection, you can't play Elite Sanctuary Onslaught with us because you're going to load in too late and you're going to hold the portal back. Everything that Warframe used to be is not what Warframe is now. Warframe used to be this fun, co-op experience with lots of depth that meant something. That is not the Warframe that we have today. The player's experience, how they really feel about your game, new and old, should always come first. Our concerns about the game, the fact that most of us dislike the direction that the game is going in, how content is being handled, etc., should really be a cause of concern at Digital Extremes, and I really think that they should reevaluate what exactly their game is at this moment in time. I really hope that the upcoming update, the new war, and Real Jack are great. I really do, but after this year, I think that a it'll be important for DE to kind of turn back time a bit to a time where their game was a lot more simple, but also to that effect not as simple as it seemed. DE is a great game development company. The people that work there are awesome, friendly, and I would say inspirational. However, there's a lot of things right now that really ruin the experience as a player, a content creator, an enthusiast, a lore fanatic, a min-maxer. Whatever tag you want to put on me in regards to Warframe, do it, because I'm all about this game, as not only has it been a source of entertainment over the past 5 or 6 years, it's also opened up a lot of doors for me, provided a lot of opportunities. It's my career, I've made a bunch of friends for this game, and Twitch streaming, I've even found my girlfriend for this game. But every step forward that we take with Warframe, we take 2 steps backwards. Simple things like a release date for content, I understand as a free-to-play title is difficult, but when a game like Dauntless, a free-to-play game that is considerably smaller, is able to have a set release date for their updates, it leaves you scratching your head as to why DE and all their glory can't do something as simple as that. And really, it's the lack thereof of simple things that really soil the experience of Warframe, at least for me after all of these years. But I mean, hey, at least they can schedule TennoCon, right? Now, I'm super excited to read everyone's comments about what I talked about in this video. No doubt I'm going to have a bunch of people calling me entitled because it's a free-to-play game and whatnot, but with the amount of hours, money, and promotion that I've sank into it, I kind of feel like I have the right to criticize it. So leave your thoughts about Warframe in general down in the comments section below. Please keep it respectful, don't bash any developers or anything like that. I promise that everyone at DE is amazing and they really do try their best, but I did feel like I had to speak out at least just a little bit. I'll have videos coming out over the next couple of weeks talking about the recent additions in the Warframe, like an in-depth look at Nightwave and arbitrations and what have you. But for now, I just wanted to throw this video out there, kind of like a hook for conversation about how we all really feel about the direction of Warframe. And before anybody says it, no, I'm not quitting Warframe. I'm not going to give up making guide content for the game, at least not this year. We're going to see how this year goes and then the start of next year, and then we'll make our decision on whether or not we stick around. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, hit the like button and subscribe for more Warframe content. I'll see you guys in the next video.